Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of Phoenix News Live on McKay TV. I am your host Andrew Palafox and thank you for joining us. Today we have another world on the street with Julia Mahano. Then we'll check up with our boys Elliot and Skylar with the latest in gaming. But before we get to that, we have a news update with Millennium Journal on the latest school announcements. This update is for the seniors. The senior trip is coming in fast. It is on May 25th at Six Flags at Valencia, California. Should be an exciting time. We'll also have a school assembly next Wednesday about anti-bullying and how to prevent it with special guests, Harmony at Home. Lastly, we wanted to remind all the seniors about the senior dinner that will take place around at May 31st at Sherwood Hall at 7 p.m. Moving along, let's get to the latest world on the street with Julia Mahano. Julia?
President Trump's decision to move the U.S.-Israel embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem has gathered both criticism in the 1995 Congress, established in Jerusalem Embassy Act, which would move the Israeli embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem. However, a clause in the law allows the president to delay the move. The move to Jerusalem is significant because both Palestine and Israel see the holy site as their capital. Moving Israel's capital there can be seen as the U.S. supporting Israel's claim to the land. The decision to move the embassy further escalated a riot on the Gaza border. The protests were organized by Hamas, the organizational body in Palestine. 60 Palestinians and 1 journalist were killed by the Israeli Defense Force during the riot. The deaths were condemned by the UN Security Council. That's all I have for today. Back to you, Andrew.
Thank you, Julia, for that interesting update. We hope to get more of an update on the current Jerusalem Act. Now on to our Game Boys with Skylar Russell and Elliot Hill on the latest gaming news.
Hi, I'm Elliot.
And I'm Skylar.
And this is the Game Boys.
This week we're going to be talking about an upcoming game called Beyond Good and Evil 2. If you feel like you've been hearing about this game for a while, that's probably because it's been in development since 2008. Before we can talk about this long-awaited sequel, we need to talk a little bit about its predecessor, Beyond Good and Evil.
The first Beyond Good and Evil was an action-adventure game released in 2003 by Ubisoft. The story follows Jade, an investigative photographer and a martial artist who works with the resistance movement to expose a worldwide alien conspiracy. You play through the story fighting enemies, solving puzzles, and gathering photographic evidence. The game world incorporates some elements of sci-fi, such as aliens and spaceships, and some elements of fantasy, such as anthropomorphic animals. Beyond Good and Evil was considered a commercial failure, although it had gathered a cult following of loyal fans.
Although Beyond Good and Evil was originally envisioned to be the first in a trilogy of games, Ubisoft had said nothing about a sequel for almost 5 years. Then, in a 2008 interview with Nintendo Power, it was revealed that the game had been in pre-production for almost a year. Since then, the game has been in what's referred to as development hell. This means that the game's deadline has been pushed back continuously due to issues with development. At one point, production was even put on hold completely to finish the development of a Rayman game. The first real trailer for the game was released during E3 2017 when the game was officially announced.
We don't have many details about Beyond Good and Evil 2. All we know is that the game will continue its story of the first Beyond Good and Evil, and it will follow the same gameplay style, though it will be a true open-world game, unlike its more linear predecessor. The 2017 trailer of the game is stunning, and the world has an incredible amount of detail, and it looks like a beautiful blend of cyberpunk, sci-fi, and fantasy, with undertones of traditional Buddhism. The game is set to come out in 2019, but based on its track record, I wouldn't get my hopes up too high.
Well, that's all the time we have for today. Be sure to come back next week for another episode of Game Boys.
Thank you guys for that gaming news. I hope to see more on the game Beyond Good and Evil 2. And for all of you gamers out there, I'd check it out. Alrighty, that is all the juicy news we have for you today. Tune in next Monday at 3:30 for more Phoenix Live news. This is Andrew Palafox, signing off.